Hi there, it's Jen. And if you have been having challenging feelings, whether that's grief, anger, frustration, loss, or any other emotion or feeling that seems like no matter what you do to try to get rid of that thing, it just gets worse and worse, this video is for you. Stick around to find out how to use yoga and breath to move those difficult feelings right on out of the way. My name is Jenn Tarrant. I am a yoga therapist and holistic lifestyle coach. And today I'm going to be telling you a little bit more about how to bring the idea of awareness and the intentional practice of that into your life to be able to move those difficult feelings right on out of the way. So, when we think about the idea of awareness and difficult feelings, it seems a little counterintuitive, or even maybe like something we really don't want to do at all. I mean, if I'm feeling angry, or perhaps I'm grieving, or I'm really frustrated, the last thing I want to do is think about that more, right? And maybe you feel the same way. The thing is, whenever we have these challenging, intense emotions and we keep trying to push them down or over to the side or make them go away, you've probably noticed this, they actually get more intense. It feels even more difficult to get rid of them. And so when we bring in this practice of awareness and use the techniques of yoga and breathing practices, then we can become present with our current experience. We can deepen our breath, quiet our mind, and begin to feel safe again inside of our own experience. Whenever we run from those challenging feelings, it only perpetuates our frustration or the intensity of that experience. But when we become aware of them, when we choose to intentionally sit with the feelings, interestingly, those feelings do actually start to move through us, and then they become a memory. So let's get right down to it. And I'd like to share with you just a couple of ways we can bring this practice into our life. And it just takes a few minutes. You could do this, maybe to begin a day or at the end of a day. And the first thing is to bring hands to our heart center and dedicate the time that we're about to spend to our own wellness. And so we bring our hands to our heart. Perhaps we soften our gaze downward or close our eyes, and we simply state our intention. My intention is to sit here with these emotions and acknowledge them. My intention is to feel my feelings. My intention is to acknowledge the challenges I'm currently facing. Whatever your intention is, take a moment to express that with hands at heart center, so that your mind and your body both have a chance to understand what's happening. And then next, let's move into a neck and shoulder release. And so often when we have challenging emotions and feelings, we really feel that held tension here in our neck and shoulder area. And so this can be any variety of neck and shoulder movements. I love to start off with some shoulder rolls, hunching the shoulders up and releasing them back and down. And this helps to get those muscles moving so that they can release some of that tension. And after a few of those, then some turns of the head from side to side can be another great way to just get the neck and shoulders active and moving. Another wonderful one is a nodding of the head up and down. And for this one, I think it's important for us to remember we want to keep that lifting upward rather than dropping our head back. We want to keep the muscles of the neck active as we nod through. And then we may choose to even pause for a moment with our chin tucked toward our chest And even give a little bit of a side to side motion here, taking that a little deeper. Sometimes those muscles that run down along either side of the upper spine can really get tight. And then bringing it back up to neutral again. We can also hold quite a bit of tension here in the muscles along the side of the neck. So same side ear to shoulder, and let that settle in for 2 or 3 breaths is another wonderful way to release some of that tension in the neck. And then, of course, taking a couple of breaths the other way as well. And then as we bring that back to the top, another thing that happens when we get that feeling of tension and resistance is we tend to keep our body pretty still facing forward. And we may notice that even maybe when we're driving and we have to check our blind spot, we're like, wow, that's really tight. I don't love the way that feels. And so bringing in some flowing twists can really help to loosen up our spine and our back. And one of my favorite ways to do this is hands on top of the shoulders and taking our gaze from side to side, taking our shoulders with us as we go. And this one works to keep our spine nice and tall, as well as bring that rotational movement in, really loosening up the muscles along the spine. I'm really feeling what the body feels here as we move and twist it out. And then returning to the middle, relaxing hands. Then I'd like to do some circles. So just circling the body all the way around. We'll probably notice that this gets into some of the sensations in the hips and where the hips and the spine connect together. After a few circles in one direction, let's reverse that and take those circles the other way. And then as we come back around that last time, let's bring ourselves back to neutral and a tall seat, a tall spine, evenly weighted in the hips. And let's take a moment here to pause and really feel and be aware. We've gotten some of the tension out of our neck, our shoulders, our spine, and even our hips. And let's notice with awareness the sensations available in our body. We may still feel some of that tension lingering. We may feel some freedom of our movement and even in our seated posture. We may notice in our mind and our emotions that perhaps those feelings and emotions feel more intense, or perhaps they feel less intense after having moved. And it doesn't matter which way that goes, more intense or less intense, let's simply notice it. Taking the time to acknowledge what's there. Let's allow ourselves to breathe a little deeper, taking a pretty robust, intentional inhale. And a nice, big, complete exhale. Feeling how that moves through the body. And then, now that we've worked to clear some tension out of our body, we've cleared some tension out of our breathing, we've taken a moment to dedicate this time and to feel what's going on. We may choose to end this practice with either a little bit of quiet, reflective time, maybe again, softening the gaze or closing the eyes, and taking a little bit more time to acknowledge what we feel. This would also be a great time to journal, writing down what those feelings are. And when we give those feelings and emotions a voice, when we allow them to say just how strong they are, we may be surprised to see that after a few moments or a few minutes, the sensations start to subside. I find often that our feelings and emotions simply want to be acknowledged. And once they are, they soften. So take this time for yourself. I love to hear from you. Which of these movements really helped you to get in touch with your body? Thank you so much for sharing these few minutes with me. Until next time, bye for now.